Hi, my name is Jenny, and I facilitate the course Boundaries at Valiant Recovery House. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what a boundary is. And a boundary is something that tells us what we're responsible for and what another person would be responsible for. And I believe that a lot of people in society haven't been taught what a healthy boundary is. And we all fall into the trap of taking other people's stuff on our plate, and we own it, and then we get frustrated and resentful. No is a very hard word to use, and it's actually a very healthy word. It teaches us that we're not afraid to be honest with someone. In my life, I had a lot of issues with saying no, and always did for everybody, wanted to please everybody, and I didn't use the word no, and in turn I became resentful, and I became angry, and I also was frustrated because I was tired all the time. And since I was taught how to put healthy boundaries in effect, it just a lot freeing in life. You can do more with boundaries. I wrote just some notes here. When we take other people's stuff and we own it, and we don't realize what our boundary is when we overstep them, we actually stop them from maturing or getting ahead or even making mistakes, because we always want to be there for them and help them out. And in turn, it doesn't help the other person. It's kind of like if you can identify with having a neighbor, and he doesn't mow his lawn and you mow yours, yet your property is, there's no fence there, and so you don't really know where his property begins and he doesn't know where yours began. And this course just teaches and defines, what your boundary is and what the other person's boundary is. And when you're not taught that at a young age, it's more difficult when you're older. There are some myths about setting boundaries where people will say that you're being disobedient by using the word no, or you don't want to do something. And a lot of times you'll get a phone call from a friend and they'll say, let's go out tonight, and you can't say no. Not tonight. You feel that you have to go into this big reasoning behind it and make an excuse. But when you have your boundaries set and they're healthy boundaries, saying no, not tonight, let's do it another time, would be enough. But for somebody who doesn't have their boundaries, saying no, they would feel guilty and feel that they have to explain. I've learned in my life that just saying no, I can't tonight, and not feeling like I'm expected to give a reason is just so much more freeing. And you don't live with that guilt. And I think without boundaries, you live a life with guilt, especially when you say no to somebody that you can't help them. But in my opinion, it's all just a myth that you're disobedient, or you're not being a good friend, or you're lazy, or you just don't want to help. And a lot of times we're just general, we just don't want to do something, and it's okay to say no. You don't always have to say yes or be guilted into saying yes. And you'll find that, especially in the workforce, you may have a boss who is, has high expectations, and there's certain limits that you can go to, and you can't just give in because he's your boss. If you establish healthy boundaries from the beginning, it just makes it a lot easier, and being honest with them. But not that you have to give a huge explanation as to why you can't. A lot of times people will have been told that helping somebody out, or not, or having your boundaries not in place, that you'll end up hurting someone if you don't help them out. They'll say that, oh, you know, if you don't give me $50, you know, I'm going to end up losing this car, this house, or whatever it is that they need the funds for. But if they've come to you over and over and asked for your help, you saying no to them is actually letting them take responsibility instead of you feeling like you need to be taking responsibility. And there's so much of that, especially when we are passive and we just want to be there to support it and to help, and not realizing that we're enabling somebody and not helping them set healthy boundaries. So this boundaries, I truly believe that we need in life, just to live a more freeing life, a more joyful life, and having them in place is there's a big difference. My life has just changed. My relationship with my children and my husband have changed due to myself being able to set proper boundaries. In my life as well, it teaches them to set their boundaries as well.